Hey there, I'm going to kick it up a little bit with a moderate to high intensity body weight workout, kind of cardio and core stuff. So we're going to get started just by showing you the basic movements we're going to do, use that as a bit of a warm-up, and then jump right into it. It's going to be 30 seconds of work, kind of continuous. We'll have a few seconds in between each of the 30 seconds. We're going to do 6 exercises, and we're going to repeat that 5 times. Hang in there with me. Good stuff. Okay, so the first one, kind of more of a bit of a cardio exercise, just a bit of jumping rope. So you can pretend to jump rope with me. You can kind of do 1 foot at a time, or you can do both feet at the same time. Maybe for the warm-up, we'll just keep it nice and lower intensity, or if this is too difficult, you can kind of skip with the hands or pretend skipping rope, which is the best way that I can skip. And just marching up and down. Or doing that single foot jump or a double foot jump. And as we get going through the workout, you might want to adjust what you're doing there. Feel free to switch up the rope as you go. High knees. All right, the next one is going to be up on the mat or on the ground. You're going to be on your hands and feet. And in this position, you're going to tuck one knee into your chest and then the other knee into your chest. You can touch the ground lightly with your foot. And again, for this one, for the warm-up, this is the basic movement. For this one, we can always get the legs moving a little bit faster or not touching the ground with your foot. So kind of keep that foot lifted. There's your other option, kind of doing a bit of a running mountain climber. Good. You can also adapt this a little bit by having your hands on a chair or even on a table to bring your hands up a little bit higher to make it a bit easier for the core. Okay. Next up, what is it? Squat and pulse. So you're going to be squatting down and pulse twice before you stand up. 1, 2, good. For the workout portion, if you want a little bit more fun, you can add a little bit of a jump. Still doing that pulse at the bottom. Try to keep the knees on top of the feet, so not letting them cave in towards each other. Good, or just keeping the feet on the ground the whole time. Try 2 more. Great, and back down to the ground. Sitting on the ground with your feet on the ground, your option is to lift your feet up, but to start with, nice and tall through the spine, holding onto your imaginary ball, bringing the ball to one side and then the other. If you can touch the fingers down to the ground, kind of encourages a little bit more of a twist. And your option here, bring the feet up off the ground. Try to keep the length through the spine. If this is feeling too much, even reach the hands over to the side or have your feet on the ground, keeping the spine long, reaching the hands over to the side. Good, and then back up again, the bottom of your mat, everybody's favorite. Reach your hands up, hands come down to the ground. You can jump or step your feet back, jump or step your feet forward again, and standing back up. Love the burpee. Jump out or step out. And if you're stepping, maybe switch which leg is leading. In both directions. And again, if you're familiar with the burpee, you can always add that little bit of a jump for joy in the middle. Good, and this next one, I'm going to try to come onto your side. Your elbow right underneath your shoulder. Your knees can be bent, pivoting from the knees and pushing your hips forward so you have a nice straight line. Or your legs could be nice and straight, pressing up from the elbow and the bottom of the outside of the edge of your foot. So for this one, we'll start off to warm up with the knees bent and go to either level as you need. Lift your hips up, nice straight line, shoulders to the knees. Drop your hip back down and then press back up again. Good, and switch to the other side. We'll have to be fairly quick with this one. With that switching, so you could either just turn over or flip yourself top to bottom. Pushing into that forearm to lift the hips. Keep the hips pushed forward the whole time. Good. So there you go, a little bit of a warm up there. We're going to go through each of those exercises for 30 seconds. And we're going to just kind of move continuously. So go at your own tempo. Choose a tempo that you can maintain. We're going to complete that whole set 5 times. Can't remember if I give you 30 seconds in between each set. I think I might give you a little bit of a break in between each set. So we'll get a little bit of a 30-second break to catch your breath is actually what we're going to do there. Okay. All right, ready to go? Ready to hear the double ping if you hear that, or just watch me. We'll start the exercise. So starting off with our skipping rope. Had a little bit of a bounce, or 2 feet. 30 seconds here. Just choose your level. Or you can do kind of a stepping high knee thing. The arms going again for that jumping rope. Or skipping one foot to the other. Good, and then coming onto your hands and your toes. Start with the mountain climber. The knee comes into the chest, alternating. You can touch your toe on the ground to support the spine a little bit. If you're finding this is too much and the strength of your core can't support your back, if your back starts to get tired or sore, try putting your hands up on a chair so you're not kind of as close to the ground with your hands. Good, you can pick up the pace a little bit or not touch your foot down onto the ground as you need to. Next one is our squat jumps. So pulse and stand up, or pulse and jump. 30 seconds. Should feel the breathing kind of come up a little bit. Your shoulders loose, your chest up. Keep your knees on top of your feet, so not letting your knees cave in towards each other. Keep them pushing out to the side. Good. And seated twists. Touching your fingers to the ground if you can, or reaching them a little bit over to the side. Keep the spine nice and long. Brilliant. Nice and tall through the spine. You can always lift the feet up off the ground if you want a bit more. Good, and standing up, and burpees. And touch overhead, step or hop the feet back. Add that jump for joy. And go at your own pace. So if you do 2 or 3 of these in 30 seconds, that's great. If you do 7 or 8 of them, that's great. Stepping or hopping the feet back. Good, and then our side planks. Again, we're going to flip over halfway. So lift the hips, drop down. Keep the hips pushed forward. Push into that forearm Try 2 more. Good, and switch to the other side. Quickly as you can. Pushing into the forearm, push your hips forward. Find that rhythm to your breath. Good, and stop right there. Take 30 seconds off. So you can just rest here for a second. Our next one up is the skip rope. And I'll let you know when we're going to start that one. I did this right. Might not have. I'll take a little bit of a break here. Whatever, any move is a good move, they say, right? So skipping rope here. Either just standing on the spot, you can throw the hands around a little bit in a circle, or jumping up and down. Off we go. Choose the level that works for you. Nice and tall with the spine the whole time. Good, play around there a little bit. You can do the single leg bounce. It's okay if you mess up your hands because there's no rope to trip over. Nice and quick there with the knees or double foot. Good, and our mountain climber is next. Hands and toes. You can speed up the legs, not touching the ground with your foot, just to kind of make it a little bit more a challenging exercise, or even running. Good. Next up is our squat jumps, or the double pulse squat. Keep your feet on the ground if you like, just standing up tall. Find that rhythm again to the breath that allows you to make it through each of these 30-second efforts. The knees on top of the feet, so knees pushing out to the sides. Great, and stopping there. Our seated twists. Choose your level, feet on the ground. Reach your hands forward and a little bit to the side. The spine nice and long. Good. Lengthen again through the back of the spine. Good stuff. Burpee. Step or hop the feet back. Step or hop the feet forward. If you're stepping, change which leg is leading each time. So maybe the right leg steps back first, right leg steps forward first. And then the next time your left leg steps back, left leg steps forward. Nicely done. Side plank. From the knees or from the feet, drop the hips down, lift the hips up. Good, and switch to the other side, nice and quick. If you're hearing the ping here on the video, just keep working through that ping a little bit. Our next one is a rest. One more time. Good, stop right there, 30 seconds of rest. Nicely done, twice through. 30 seconds here, catch your breath. If you have a water bottle close by, grab a quick little drink. Maybe keep moving nice and slowly. This is next. 1 foot, 2 feet, high knees, low knees, 30 seconds. Off we go. Play around here, make it manageable for 30 seconds. Maybe challenge yourself. Keep the chest nice and wide. You can feel that activity in your upper back. That'll help you to keep your good posture. Wonderful. Mountain climber is next. Good. Choose your level, touching the ground to make it a little bit easier. Hands on a chair, a little bit of a raised surface to make it a bit easier. Not touching the foot down or moving your legs a bit faster to bring up that intensity. Go to a previous level if it's starting to get a bit challenging, or if you can't engage your core to help it support your back. Nicely done. Squat jumps or double pulse squats. Keep the feet on the ground if you need to. The knees pointing the same direction as the toes. Good. Letting the knees follow the direction the toes are pointing. Might a little bit of an effort outwards with those knees. Good. Seated twists. Heels on the ground or lifted. Remember your options. Reaching your hands a little bit to the side. Your weight should be even on your sit bones. It's your upper body that's twisting. Good. Burpees are next. Jump for joy if you can this time around. You can really think about using your core muscles to pull your knees back towards you, to lift your hips up here. Nicely done. Next up is the side plank. Knees bent or legs straight. Push the hips forward, squeezing through the back of the hips. Push into the ground here. Keep the neck long. Good, and switch to the other side. And grand. We're going to keep working through the ping. Push the hips forward. Lift the hips up. Up and forward. Keep going, last two. And rest. 30 seconds rest. Well done. 2 more times through. And grab a little drink if you need. Maybe moving gently or walking in a circle or figure 8 where you are. Skipping rope is our first one. We'll just pause for a moment here. Get the hands ready. And on the double ping, off we go. Good. Play around here maybe a little bit. Or if your joints are not liking the jumping, lift your knee a bit higher as you march on the spot. Good. Switch it up. Oh, I've never been better at skipping rope in my life. A little boxer, I don't know what this is called, but I call it a boxer jump. Good. Next up is our mountain climber. At the level you need. If the wrists are getting sore, you can always do this one on your elbows. The knee might need to come out to the side a little bit, or in your elbows from a chair, or even hanging your wrists over the edge of the chair We give them a little bit more of a straight position to work from. I can't remember. Squat jumps. A double pulse, or just standing straight upright, or jumping off the ground. Double pulse, and then jump. Nicely done. Loving it. Seated twist is next. Off you go, choose your level. Again, just remind yourself to lengthen through the back of the spine, maybe even lifting the chest up, tilting the pelvis forward a little bit to keep that length through your core. And the burpees. Modify as you need to. Alternating those legs if you're stepping. Use your core, especially if you're jumping. But focusing in on that core to pull your legs back to center. Nicely done. And our side plank. Knees bent or legs straight. Push your hips forward as you lift up. You're using your abdominals on that lower side and your hip on that lower side as well. Keep pushing forward. Good, and switch. We'll go right through the double bang on this side. If you don't hear it, that's great. Just listen for my cues. Good, keep moving that breath. Good, keep pushing through this. And then we get a little bit of a break. Good, and take a little break. Skip rope is up next. I believe this is our last time through the whole thing. I'll see what my timer has to say about that and what my memory, how good my memory is. So our first one is the skip rope. As we build up some fatigue here, probably notice your heart rate, your breathing is still a bit high. Ready, and off we go. That's okay, that's what's going to make us stronger in the long run. So if you need to, if you can, keep the intensity you've had for most of this workout. If you need to adjust it, of course, just take it a bit lower down, maybe from a bouncing single knee, step up. Good. Do that. Have some fun. Good stuff. Good. Mountain climbers are next. Doing a grand job here, people. Press away from the ground. Picking up the tempo if you can. Pressing away with the hands, the heels of the hands. Upper back is nice and strong. A tempo you can maintain. Focusing on that core again to keep the body straight. Wonderful, good stuff. Give ourselves a few seconds and then the squat jumps. I did mess up a little bit, but I'll just count us through this. 30 seconds here. This is our last few exercises here. Use your breath to keep that nice tempo. Shoulders relaxed. One more. Great. Seated twists is up next. Last time through these guys. Tall through the spine, off we go. Use your breath here. Move your breath. Rhythm to the movement, rhythm to your breath. Your shoulders relax. And again, lengthen the spine as you twist. Keep engaging through that core to support the lower back. Good. Stop there. Burpees is next. One more minute of work here, people. Off we go. Good. Last time through the burpees. Again, it's just 30 seconds here. Convince yourself you can. Say those positive things to yourself. I can. I can. I can. Great. Good. Stop there. Side plank. Last 30 seconds of work. Choose your level. Ready, go. Lift the hips. Good. Hips forward. Hips up in a straight line. Push forward. Push into the forearm, that elbow, the neck long. Switch to the other side. Last time through on this side. And lifting the hips. Push into the ground here. Of using your shoulder to give you somewhere to push from, the back of your shoulder. Doing some of that work. Lift up, push forward. 2 more. And you've done it. Well done. Go ahead. Maybe stand up for a moment. That's it. You've done the hard part. I think the hard part might have actually been showing up. Maybe walking a little bit in circles. I'm going to open my door a little bit so I can get some air in here. Beautiful. Just rolling the shoulders back a little bit as we're cooling down. Maybe swinging the arms a little bit higher than you would normally when you're walking around. You even switch it up, going forward and back instead of just walking forward. Good. And let's lift the knees up high as you're walking now. Either walking forward and back or continuing in those circles. Good. Bring the feet out nice and wide. Or bring the feet together and step out nice and wide. Just get a bit of a stretch, an active, gentle stretch through the inner thigh. Good. And continuing to kind of thank your hip muscles for doing all that work for you. Good. Let's get the arms to follow suit. Out and then in. Good. Good. So bending that leading leg, sliding the hips back behind you, pulling your shoulder blades together as you do so. As your arms come open. Good. And just high knees here again, one more time. Just a few variations here. Bring the knee up high and back to the center. Up, out to the side, nice and high, back to the center. Moving through those hip joints. A wall is also helpful if you're having difficulty balancing after all that. Big circles out. Now go the other way, circling back, up, back, and then down again. Good. Mostly just moving through those hips. Thanking them again. Thank you, hips, for all your hard work. Good stuff. My timer is about to go off here. I'm just going to pause that for a moment. Let's come down onto the ground. If your heart rate is feeling like it's starting to come down, your breathing is starting to come down a bit, you can come onto the ground. If not, pause the video, continue walking around a little bit, and then once things have kind of settled for you, you can press play and come down to the ground. For those of you who are feeling like things are kind of returning to normal, come onto the ground here. We'll just do a couple quick little things on the ground, lying on your back. Tuck your right knee into your chest and straighten that left leg out along the ground. And you can kind of just sway the right knee back and forth a bit. And moving through that hip. See if you can keep the head and the shoulder blades on the ground. So if you need to hold on behind the thigh to do that, if your knee doesn't come in that close, do that, or you could use a belt or a towel behind your thigh to hold on. If it's still too far away, totally fine. Good. Place your foot back on the ground and let that knee drop out to the side. Let's open both arms out in a big T position here. See if you can let the back of the rib cage find the ground. Good. So that's opening up through the inside of that hip. Good. Straighten that right leg out along the ground. Left knee comes into center. Towel or a belt behind your thigh, or just holding onto your pants, or pulling that knee in and just rocking slowly side to side. You can also try some little circles with that knee if that feels good. Just listen to what your body's suggesting. If it's feeling kind of pinchy or that you're limited a little bit with that flexion of your hip, this drawing inwards of your hip, take your thumb on the left side and push it into the hip crease there, that soft part, right where the hip bends, pushing your thumb away, and then that should allow you to have a little bit more of a comfortable flexion of the hip. Good. And then that left foot onto the ground, knee out to the side, palms up if it feels okay. You can keep the palms either straight or elbows straight, or you can bend them a little bit into a soft W position. However you're doing this, try not to let your back arch up off the ground. So try to keep that connection of the rib cage and the back of the pelvis to the ground. Good, and then straightening out that left leg. This is a bit more of a challenge, but if you're up for it, you can try it to make it a bit easier. You can bend the knees. If you can't do this, just roll onto your side and come to a seated position. Otherwise, tuck the chin towards your chest, reach your fingertips towards your toes, and then curl yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. Your legs might go flying up, and then reaching forward. If that doesn't work, just roll onto your side and come to a seated position. Place the hands behind your back. Just straighten out your spine and just hinging forward from the hips. So you might not even go that far forward, but you want this little bit of a straight back and then a stretch through the back of your thighs. Good stuff. And then coming into a seated position, cross-legged, or your knees could be bent in front of you. If cross-legged doesn't work, you're going to reach the arms up and overhead. And one arm down to the side, the other arm reaches over your head. If that's sore on your shoulder, just cross your arm across your chest. Keep your sit bones heavy to the ground. Keep your knees nice and heavy. You might want to pop up. And then one more to the other side, up and overhead. Reaching over your head or crossing your arm across your chest to get that length down the side of the body. Great work today. Look forward to the next time. Good job. We'll see you next time.